guys, welcome to Oz Seekers. I'm Michael, this is Ricky.
How's it going, guys?
And behind the scenes we have Turk. Today we're in Altona North and at the scene of a horrific murder that happened 40 years ago. At just the young age of 20 years old, Barbara Ellen Dawson's body was discovered on November 1st, 1980. Just over my shoulder in that spot there. Her naked body was partially submerged in the murky waters of the Corroy Creek, which flows behind me. She had been bound with a nylon cord, a plastic bag covered her head and another covered her feet and legs. An autopsy later revealed that she'd been sexually assaulted and her throat cut with a jagged, broken glass bottle. More gruesome still, coroners believe that she may have still been alive as she lay partly immersed in the creek and with a cut throat. To date, her killer or killers have not yet been found. Barbara's family last saw her in the morning of Wednesday the 29th, 1980 when she left the family home here in Wellow Street, West Footscray.
So Barbara had told her stepfather that she made a doctor's appointment for later in that day. However, she also told her brother to call in sick, where she worked at the local Coles supermarket, which was just here in West Footscray. Later that day, about 1:30 p.m, Barbara's stepfather, Peter Dawson, received a telegram. Delivered to the family's Wellow Street home, the telegram read, "Decides to be on my own for a while. Let you know where I am later." It was signed Babs. Investigators established the telegram was sent at 1 p.m. from the Footscray West Post Office, but who sent it is unknown. And like her killer, police were never able to find the doctor Barbara supposedly visited the day she disappeared. Barbara also seemed to have taken a suitcase and clothing from her room, where she'd left home for the doctor's appointment. It was discovered that $1,400 had been withdrawn from her bank account on Monday, October the 27th, 1980, 2 days before she was last seen. Barbara's case and clothes were never recovered. Heavy rain Friday night and Saturday morning washed away vital clues such as tire marks. Barbara Dawson was a quiet, homely girl who did not seem to have a boyfriend at the time of her disappearance. She rarely went out for socializing with friends.
In 2002, a new probe into Miss Dawson's death by Victoria Police cold case homicide team had fingered her stepfather Peter Elwyn Dawson as the prime suspect, but ultimately did not lead to any arrests. Mr. Dawson, a former Port of Melbourne security officer, was charged in 2005 with the murder of his first wife Patricia Dawson, 33 years after she went missing.
Patricia Mary Dawson was reported as a missing person on 14th of April 1972. Her husband Peter Dawson said that he had last seen her at 11:15 p.m. on Tuesday the 11th of April 1972, when he drove from the couple's Ingle Farm house to Adelaide to buy a newspaper. He claimed to have left a 33-year-old at home with their two children, aged 4 and 6. When he returned home at 12:30 a.m. on the 12th of April 1972, he said she was gone, finding both children in bed asleep. He told police he discovered about $390 in cash had gone from his wife's bedroom wardrobe, as well as some of her clothing. Mr. Dawson later told the family members she had gone off in a black car with her boyfriend. His claims at the time led police to believe that Patricia Dawson had left home voluntarily, so her disappearance was not initially treated as suspicious.
It wasn't until a review of the case more than 30 years later that detectives from South Australia's Major Crime Squad discovered sufficient new evidence to charge Mr. Dawson with murdering his first wife.
The police prosecutor told the Magistrates Court that Miss Dawson was killed between April the 10th and April the 13th in 1972. Her body was never found.
Patricia Mary Dawson went missing from her Ingle Farm home in Adelaide's northeast in April 1972. In court, prosecutors described then 63-year-old Peter Elwyn Dawson as a callous and insensitive man. Dawson's lawyer asked the magistrate to find her client had no case to answer. She said the prosecution's case was weak and based mostly on malicious gossip and hearsay. Prosecutor John Wells admitted that his case was old, flawed and circumstantial, but he said it was built on the many lies and contradictions Dawson had told. The court heard that 2 days after Miss Dawson went missing, Peter Dawson had asked the neighbour to tell her 2 children that she was not coming back. Mr. Wells said weeks later Dawson's mistress had moved in under the guise of being a housekeeper. Prior to the trial commencing, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions determined there was insufficient evidence for the matter to proceed. Peter Dawson has since died. A reward of up to $200,000 remains on offer for information that leads to a conviction in this case or the recovery of Patricia's remains. So what does this mean for Barbara Dawson? Now, after almost 40 years, her family may finally be a step closer to getting answers on who was responsible for killing her. A coroner is considering whether to hold a public inquest into the cold case murder of Barbara Dawson.